For Jaime Munguia, he's doing a workout. A lot on the line with this fight against Derevchenko. I feel that he needs to have a strong performance to push for not only Charlo, but I saw that you were mentioning David Benavidez, which is something new to me. Potential great matchup, I feel, for Jaime.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. I mean, look, Jaime's a fan favorite. He always puts on a great show. He always fights. He wants to fight against the very best. And look, I mean, the fact that the WBC has been holding the title hostage for 2 years, it's injustice for boxing and for Jaime and whoever's next in line for Adames. You know, Jaime wants to fight everybody. He wants to fight the very best. He wants to fight Triple G. I don't know if he's retired or not. He wants to fight Triple G. Why not make that fight? Both guys need it. Both guys want it. Why not make that fight? But obviously, first things first. June 10th, live on the Zone. It's going to be a great, entertaining fight card, everything. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Let me ask you this. Say he wins this fight and the 160 thing is still muddled and they say, like, hey, look, Adames is the interim champ. We have to mandate that fight with him and Charlo. That leaves Munguia with, like, this waiting period. If you guys can get a fight with Benavidez, would you move him up to get that? Because I feel that fight sells a lot. You could do that fight in a May or September even.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, Jaime Munguia, when you stand next, he's a big kid. He's a big kid. I mean, he can carry 168 with no problem. So I've spoken to Benavidez, and I remember sitting down with him.
Yeah, that's right. You guys had a meeting.
Right. We had a lunch, and it was from fighter to fighter, you know.
And you're having all sorts of meetings.
Well, it's, you know, people have to remember that I was an ex-fighter myself, so I can talk to these fighters and give them advice or whatever they might need. But Benavidez was the one mentioning to me, hey, I want Jaime. That would be a great fight. I'm like, guess what? Jaime wants you too. So that's one fight that can be made.
Lastly, Oscar, did Benavidez mention at all, like, his frustrations of not getting the big fights, and what advice did you give him? Because everybody wants to see him and Canelo as well, and I know he's kind of like, whatever, but I would feel like, you know, there's a little frustration there on his end to get that big fight because he feels he could beat Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, look, I told him, look, you have to be patient. That's it. Just keep knocking on the door. Eventually, it'll open up. I mean, they can't keep that door locked for so long. Eventually, if you keep knocking on it, it's going to open. So just have patience. He's young. He's still learning. He's still growing. So he understood. But obviously, fighters get frustrated. They get antsy. They want to fight the very big, you know, the biggest fights out there. There's always the public demand. There's always that public pressure. But you just stay on your course, stay in your lane, and eventually those big fights will happen.
Oh, Ryan switched trainers. He's with Derrick James now. Have you at all talked to him about that, like before or now, about how that changes and what prompted him to change trainers?
No, I haven't talked to him at all about the trainer. But he made a right choice. I think he's an excellent trainer. I think that, you know, a trainer's there to discipline you. A trainer's there to keep you in line, to teach you, you know, to give you that game plan, to better your skills. And I believe he picked the right trainer.
Some have said it's not the trainer; it's the fighter. Others have said, like, no, a trainer has to be on the fighter. It's their way or no way, and has to really keep the fighter on a vigorous, you know, routine. What do you make of the two opinions? Which, as a former fighter, do you feel is the right one, or does it fall in the middle?
Well, look, I'll give you my expertise, and from a fighter who's had, I think I had 7 trainers in my whole career, and I had the best of the best. I've had trainers who listen to me. I've had trainers that I have to listen to. I've had disciplinary trainers. I've had trainers who are just at ease. My best trainer that I've ever had was Floyd Mayweather Sr. Because he would literally wake me up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go run when I didn't want to wake up. He would throw buckets of water at me to wake me up when I was lazy. So a trainer makes the fighter. A trainer gives you the discipline, gives you the instructions, you know, teaches you the game plan, you know, and it's repetition, repetition. So if you have a fighter who is not listening or respecting the trainer, then you're not learning, you're not growing as a fighter. You need a trainer who's gonna be on your ass, and that's the bottom line. And my best two trainers, I have to say, I forgot to mention the professor who trained me for the Chavez fight. He was on my ass, and when I didn't want to wake up, when I didn't want to spar, when I didn't want to train, he would be on my ass, and that's exactly how I won this fight, is by having a trainer who was on my ass.
Hearing Manny Pacquiao as a potential opponent for Ryan Garcia. I know that fight, Ryan talked about it maybe a year and a half ago. Yeah. Why do you feel now's the time is right to do that, and can it actually happen?
Well, the reason why we can now talk about it and it's a viable option is Manny Pacquiao was just victorious in a suit he was involved in, which obviously didn't allow him to fight in the States. So now that he's free to do so, it's a very real option for both guys, because imagine a Ryan Garcia Manny Pacquiao fight at a catch weight, depending on what that weight is, can be the biggest fight for both guys.
What would be the catch weight in your opinion? Would it be like 144, 145? Like how would they meet in the middle?
Well, Manny's a small guy to start off with, all his weight is in his calves, I think. He's got big calves, strong calves. But yeah, I can see that fight happening at 142, 143 maybe. Ryan Garcia's a big kid. But that's alongside Rollies and alongside Pitbull and Teofimo Lopez, who Ryan Garcia mentioned. I think Manny Pacquiao is the biggest fight that can be made.
How soon would you like to see that fight be made? Are you guys looking to have a tune-up for Ryan and then he goes into a fight like that, like in the winter or for like next year?
Well, it all depends. It all depends on what Ryan is feeling. I mean, we all know that he doesn't like tune-ups. He didn't have a tune-up before Gervonta Davis. So it all depends. It all depends when we sit down and figure out what he wants to do. But we're hoping by September, October, he can come back and fight.
When you met with Rolly, did you guys discuss the potential fight? And was that what you guys talked about?
No, we were just from one fighter to another, just shooting the breeze. I like Rollies. He's an entertaining guy. He speaks his mind, and he tells the truth, and he's a fun fighter to watch. Yeah, him and Ryan would be a very entertaining fight. But the biggest fight out there for Ryan would be a Manny Pacquiao fight.
Oscar, as always, great seeing you. Appreciate it. Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, here with me, Marcos Villegas, in Big Bear.